Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSi, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Interact with me on Instagram and Twitter at MitchellRenz365. I got all 16 Raiders free agents, and I've ranked them in top priority on how much I want the Raiders to bring them back. The first player on my list, it's Jared Cook, and Jared Cook, I think, is no doubt the number one target here for Derek Carr. He's the number one player that the Raiders need to bring back. And when you look and see what he did in 2018, he led the Raiders with 896 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, saw 101 targets. Super impactful player. He's looking for a 2 to 3 year contract from what it sounds like. And I'd be really upset if the Raiders did not bring back Jared Cook, because if we want Derek Carr to grow, I think you need to be able to bring back his main target. And sure, there's some good tight ends in the draft, but come on, let's be real. Jared Cook is one of the best tight ends right now in the NFL with Derek Carr. And when you look at just the receiving yards leaders among all tight ends in the NFL, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz, Jared Cook there at number 4, and Ebron. But when two of those tight ends, when you have Travis Kelce dominating the AFC West every year, I'm looking at Jared Cook. I don't know if he's ever going to get over that 1,000-yard hump, but he's really talented. And then also receptions. Man, he's up there in top 5 in receptions. He's got 68, and sure, he's right behind there with Austin Hooper and whatnot. But again, super reliable tight end. And guess what? Receiving touchdown leaders, he's there also. Sure, Ebron, Travis Kelce, Ertz, I think they separated themselves a little bit. But with Trey Burton, Jared Cook there, 6 touchdowns, tight end receiving touchdown leaders, man. I'm telling you, we got to bring back Jared Cook. Can I get a bring back Jared Cook in the comment section? Let's hear it out there. All right, Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSi, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Interact with me on Twitter and Instagram at MitchellRenz365, and make sure you guys subscribe below to youtube.com/the Raiders Report. If you guys want to get on my show, you got to subscribe. Keep growing this channel. Once we get to 10,000 subs, I'm doing something crazy. So any comments, anything you guys want me to do, hit me up. You got my Twitter handle right there. Should the Raiders re-sign Jared Cook? I want to know from you. I want you to type R for re-sign or L for let him walk. If you don't care about what I think, maybe you should type L. But I want you guys to type some R's because I want the Raiders to re-sign Jared Cook. My next player up here is Jalen RIchard, and he's going to be a restricted free agent at age 25, and he's going to be a cheaper and he's a younger option than Doug Martin. I think the Raiders need a pass-catching running back because I think it fits what they're trying to do in that offense. And sure, you guys are going to rip on Derek Carr here and there for being dink and dunk, but Jalen RIchard is super reliable. When you look at what he did from a rushing standpoint, 55 carries, 4.7 yards per carry. But here's the thing, he's a receiving halfback. And the fact that he's one of the best receiving halfbacks in the NFL right now, I think speaks volumes on what he can do for the Raiders. 68 receptions. That's pretty good, right? 607 receiving yards. Pretty freaking good. When you look at the Raiders receiving leaders of 2018, he's on this list, and he's up there with Jordy Nelson. He's up there with Jared Cook in terms of receiving yards. He's super reliable, and he's, guess what, got more than Seth Roberts. I know you guys hate when I hate on Seth Roberts, or at least some of you do. But then reception leaders. He literally is tied with Jared Cook in terms of receptions. Let's bring back Jared Cook. Let's bring back Jalen RIchard. They're one catch short of having a really nice season. That's all I'm saying. All right, next guy coming up here on my list is Dwayne Harris. And I like Dwayne Harris a lot, and he might not make that big of an impact as a wide receiver, but he's got a high football IQ, and he's going to help build those younger players. But it's called special teams for a reason, and he is really special on special teams. The dude is a weapon, and we saw that in Week 16 when he took that kick back. And when you look at what he did from a punt return standpoint, 20 returns. He's averaging 14.1 yards per return, 281 yards on the season. But he also had that touchdown. And then when I look at what he did on kick returns, I mean, he touches the ball, and people take a deep breath, and they're like, oh boy. Dwayne Harris is really talented. He's electric, and I don't care that he's 31. Let's bring back Dwayne Harris. If you guys want to bet on the Super Bowl, there's one place to do it. It's at BetDSi. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. Sign up and deposit with MasterCard or Bitcoin, and then just DM us on Twitter at chatsports. We're going to hook you up with a free NFL jersey of your choice. But wait, I got a little bonus for you. If you use Bitcoin, and if you don't know how to use Bitcoin, hit me up at MitchellRenz365. I'll walk you through the process, but you'll get a 150% deposit bonus when you use Bitcoin. Put 100, get 150 for free. Shout out to BetDSi for us up here with the best promo on the internet. My next player coming up here is a wide receiver, and it's Marcell Ateman. Now, He's going to be an exclusive rights free agent, so basically the Raiders will show him some money, and if he wants it, it's kind of like a take it or leave it. But he made his NFL debut in Week 11, and he was really, really good, like just filling in, and he had some, I don't want to say big shoes to fill with Amari Cooper. I mean, Amari played well in Dallas, sorry, and he struggled a little bit in Oakland, but Marcell stepped in right away, and he was a reliable option for Derek Carr, and I think at least worst case scenario, Marcell could be a player that Derek could rely on going down. And I mean, think about it. He's right now our number 2 receiver on our depth chart. So I like Marcell. I liked him a lot coming out of Oklahoma State. He's a taller, bigger receiver. Could be better for Derek. Could be better for the Raiders in the red zone. My next player here on my list is Daniel Carlson. And man, I'm just kicking it old school with Daniel because I like this kid a lot. And also another exclusive rights free agent, so we should be able to get him on the cheap, or at least if the Raiders were smart, they would hand him a cheaper contract. And I think that he kind of got the short end of the stick, and because when I looked to see what he did in college, he's the all-time leader in the SEC in terms of points scored, and he finished the season strong with the Raiders. He made 12 straight field goals at the end of the year, and I get that he got cut by the Vikings, and I get he had one bad game. One bad game. Guess what? He played really well for the Raiders, and the Raiders had this one kicker for a really long time. I don't know if you remember his name, but now I would like to know if Daniel could be that player. So he was 13 of 14, 92.9% field goal percentage. He made all of his extra points, and he had a long of 50. All I'm saying is I like that the Raiders gave Daniel Carlson a second chance, and sometimes, man, you just need a second chance. So, like I stated before, Seabass was kicking field goals for the Raiders for a long, long time, and I really hope the Raiders bring back Daniel Carlson, and I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't. So, how long will Carlson last in the Oakland Raiders uniform? All right, I want to know from you. Comment below. Next player coming up here on the board is a good one. It's Denzelle Good, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 28. But what I really liked about Good was he also filled in, where the Raiders basically needed him to. He filled in for Gabe Jackson, but he's versatile. He's a versatile tackle and guard, and I think he's at least going to be a good reserve for the Oakland Raiders. I mean, their offensive line struggled. Derek Carr got hit more than any quarterback in the NFL, and at the end of the day, if we're dealing with Tom Cable, I think we need as many versatile guards and versatile offensive linemen as we could potentially have, and if Good could maybe teach some of these younger players, I think he's at least worth bringing back. Next player here is a more notable one, and it's Marshawn Lynch. So, I get Marshawn Lynch was good last year, okay? But he's going to be 33 years old, and he ended the season on the IR. And I floated around the idea that he could retire. And personally, I think if the Raiders don't play in Oakland in 2019, he's going to retire. However, I'm a believer that the Raiders are going to be in Oakland in 2019. And I think if that's the case, Marshawn will come back. He's going to finish his finish his career in Oakland. He's going to play one more year. And when Marshawn was on the field before he got injured last year, he was good. 90 carries, 376 yards, 4.2 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. Like, he was literally the Raiders' main focal point on offense before going down with his injury. The only thing I'm worried about is his career workload, man. It's getting up there. It's 2,441 yards or carries, over 10K yards, 84 touchdowns. Like, believe me, I love when Marshawn hops in the end zone and holds his you-know-what. But my worry is that he might not be holding it too much longer because the dude's 33 and he's just getting a little bit too old. So, Raider Nation, I want to know from you, will Marshawn be on the Raiders in 2019? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no if you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere you see this video. Y for yes, N for no. Next player coming up here on the board, Dougie Fresh. And I've seen some people have Doug Martin ranked really high in terms of priority. And again, I get Doug Martin was good last year and he played well down the stretch of the season. But personally, I'll take Chris Warren at a cheaper price, who looked really, really good in the preseason, over Doug Martin. I know what I'm getting out of Doug Martin. I'll take a much higher upside with a player like Chris Warren. And I'm going to show you these graphics here, right, of the rushing carry leaders here for the Raiders. Sure, Doug Martin led the team in carries with 172, and nobody else was really all that close. And when you look at rushing yard leaders for the Raiders in 2018, again, it's not all that close, and Doug Martin is easily leading the pack at 723 yards. But I've watched Doug Martin for long enough. I want to see Chris Warren line up in that backfield, and I want to see him get 172 carries. I want to see him split time with Jalen RIchard. Man, Dougie Fresh, I love the dance, but I just don't want to see it anymore in silver and black. So I think the one debate we're always going to have this offseason, Doug Martin, Jalen RIchard. I want to know from you, what you type, D for Doug or J for Jalen. I think you guys know, based on my rankings, who I want, but this isn't about me. D for Doug, J for Jalen. Number 9 player here for the Raiders is Chaz Green, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 27. And Chaz, he played in 4 games last season. He started in 1, and he looked okay. Like, it's Chaz Green, for goodness sakes. Like, I'm not going to sit here and debate that we need to absolutely bring back Chaz Green. He's an offensive guard. He's going to be a depth player ultimately for the Raiders. And if he can help out here or there, man, why not, right? Why not? All right, I'm going to give a shout out to BetDSi for hooking up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. You go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. You want a free NFL jersey? Well, then sign up and deposit with MasterCard or Bitcoin. And then DM us on Twitter at Chat Sports. And if you don't know how to use Bitcoin, I got you covered. Just hit me up on IG or Twitter at MitchellRenz365. I'll walk through the process because you put down 100, you get 150 for free when you use Bitcoin. It's the best deal out there, and you're getting a free NFL jersey. What more could you possibly want? Next player coming up here is TJ Clemmings, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent at age 27. And he played in 4 games last season, but again, it's going to be a reserved role for him, and he is just going to be just decent option, I guess, for the Raiders in terms of depth. And when you look at what all the Raiders have in terms of age with just other positions, TJ Clemmings, he's on here at number 10 for me. Coming in at number 11 is a player that I talked about very briefly, I guess you could say, in my rumors section. It was Brandon LaFell, and he's going to be a free agent at age 32. But he ended the season on the IR. He tore his Achilles, and it was a rough injury. But at the end of the day, like, Brandon LaFell, he did play well, I think, for the Raiders, and he filled in well. And I think when I looked at what Derek Carr and what they had in that short amount of time, now his 2018 stats might not reflect too much because he only played in a few games, but still, seeing 16 targets, catching 12 of them, 135 yards and 2 touchdowns, I think he stepped in a tough position right away and helped out. The reason why he's ranked so low for me, though, at age 32, he's probably still going to want to get paid at least a little bit of money, and coming off a torn Achilles that late, man, nah. Sorry, Brandon. I think you're not going to be back. Next player coming up here is Jon Feliciano, and he played as a reserve last season, but he ended the season on the IR with a leg injury, and I've seen enough of Jon to know that I don't really think he's going to be a huge benefit. He's not really going to help the Raiders all that much, so that's why, Jon, my man, you're coming in at number 12. Number 13, lucky number 13, is Justin Murray, and he's going to be an exclusive rights free agent at age only 26, but played in only 2 games last year, second string right tackle right now behind Brandon Parker, but that's going to change. Like, I either expect the Raiders to go out and get another right tackle in free agency or get a right tackle in the draft. So Justin, that's why you're number 13 for me. Coming in here is the long snapper, Trent, who may be the whitest dude I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks like Casper on this screen. Now, he didn't start a single game in 2018, but he is currently the only long snapper on the depth chart. But again, I think some of these things are going to change. What's not going to change is me running the #1 Raiders show on YouTube. So come along for the ride. Go to youtube.com/Raiders Report. Subscribe. Get your friends. You want to get on the show? One way to do it. You subscribe below. youtube.com/The Raiders Report. And if you think I look good on the Raiders Report, it's because of Miz and Maine. Go to comfortable.af to see for yourself. They are the most comfortable dress shirt you'll ever buy. I actually don't know how they don't get wrinkly. It's literally impossible to me, but super comfortable. Best damn dress shirt the website checks out. Check them out for yourself. Comfortable.af. All right, next player coming in here, Mike Nugent. And Nugent's 37 years old, and I just think Daniel Carlson is the way to go. So the fact that Nugent's number 15 on here, he might still be able to kick it, but I don't really see him kicking it for the Raiders because I love me some Daniel Carlson. Last player on my list. If it was based on just talent, he'd be so much higher. Yeah, but he's banned by the NFL. I don't expect him back, and he's super talented, like I said, but at this point, if I'm an NFL team, I'm looking at Martavis, and I'm like, dude, get your life together, figure it out. So for that reason, Martavis, you're number 16. If somebody thinks that I should have him higher, let me know. But I want to know, because this is not even about the Raiders at this point. Is he ever going to play in the NFL again? I want you to type Y for yes, type N for no. I don't think he's ever going to play in the NFL again. Personally, I think an NFL team would be stupid to bring back Martavis because, we've seen it for how many years now? How many years? Type Y for yes, N for no. If you're just joining the show, here are the Raiders' offensive free agents, and I've ranked them in list of priority that the Raiders should bring them back. Number 1, tight end, Jared Cook. Jalen RIchard here coming in at 2. Dwayne Harris, absolute special teams monster. Then Marcell Ateman at 4. Daniel Carlson, I'm kicking it with you. Denzelle good. Marshawn Lynch. Doug Martin. There's 7, 8. There's a debate there. Chaz Green at 9. TJ Clemmings at 10. Brandon LaFell at 11. Jon Feliciano at 12. And my bottom 4, Justin Murray, long snapper Trent, Mike Nugent, and Martavis Bryant at 16. If you think Martavis Bryant should be higher, hit me up at MitchellRens365. So I want to know from you, because this show is about you more than it is about me. Who is the Raiders' top free agent priority? So those are all 16 of the Raiders' offensive free agents. Who would be the number 1 priority on your list? I'll be back Sunday with some Raiders rumors. So until then, I'll see you. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the number 1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.